Today I am going to be giving you all a long overdue tour of the plants on my balcony. This should have been edited and published much sooner, but I was having a lot of technical difficulties. I hope you enjoy regardless, because I am pretty proud of the plants in this space. Gonna start on this shelf over here. I've got a couple of jade plants. Yes, there's two of them. One of these, the bigger one, I actually propagated from a cutting near my apartment complex in 2020, and it's gotten a decent size, but I haven't really managed to get my jades to grow exceptionally large or to flower or anything like that, but that's okay. I'm happy with them the way they are for now. I may not keep them, but we'll see. Next up is my Persian shield. The propagations I have in my house are from this plant, and when I got it, it was fairly small, maybe a couple inches off the pot, just this high off, maybe a few inches high, and now it's grown quite a bit towards the light. I've tried to put it in full sun because that seems to be where it wants to go, but it just, if I put it in full sun, it starts to droop, so I'm just kind of letting it grow wild and wherever. I will see how it does outdoors in the winter. I'm not too concerned because technically it's a hardiness zone 10, and that's my hardiness zone. And I've had other houseplants that technically should be inside do just fine outside, which I will show you soon. Next up, I have a Dracaena Lemon Lime. One of my firsts, actually. And you can tell because it's a little beat up. It's been through a lot with me. I bought it for my first terrarium project, didn't last in there. I've had it on various windowsills. It's a little damaged. It just hasn't grown very much. I don't know if it's just a slow grower or I'm just not doing a good job. You'll see here there's some damage on the leaves, some hard leaf tips, some black leaf tips. Just, she's not happy. I was hoping by putting it outside it would have the good combo of ventilation and humidity that would help it. I've also given it a very well-draining soil. I may have to bring it back inside. I'll make room for it and see about that. And I initially got this plant because I liked the upright growing habit and I liked the dark stripe in the middle with the white. But I'm learning that this kind of plant is a little challenging for me because I don't know where to prune, I don't know where to cut. This is where my microphone died, so the next few clips I will have to just voice over. This is my Kalanchoe Flaming Katy. Doesn't look terribly impressive now because it hasn't flowered for me in quite a long time. It used to have these really adorable pink flowers, which is what drew me to it initially, but I do like the sort of compact vining nature of this plant, and even though I haven't been taking the best care of it, it's done pretty well for me. Don't know if I'm going to keep it, but look, see, the leaves have this kind of ruffly bunching that I still enjoy, even without the flowers. One thing I've also learned about this plant is that if I put it in direct sun for too long, the leaves will scorch. So actually, if you like Kalanchoe Flaming Katy, this might be a good plant to have in the windowsill in your house. Here is my Echeveria Pearl von Nuremberg. This is a succulent that grows in a rosette shape, so it looks like a flower. And I like that it's purple. Purple's one of my favorite colors. And I like that the round leaves have little pointy ends. Very cute. That little baby there, the plant was a little bit bigger than that when I first got it, the mother plant, I mean. And, it's massive now. That's how big it's grown in a year. I am sure that this plant could get bigger, but I also don't know if I can keep it because I can't give it enough sunlight anymore to sustain itself at this size. So, and I'm putting it on the ledge for some reason. I don't know what I was thinking. Your guess is as good as mine. Now this adorable little shrubby stump was a lavender plant. I had recently cut it back when I filmed this because the foliage on the lower ends, a lot of it was dry and dead, and it was kind of hindering the plant from growing. So I cut it back pretty aggressively. Also, the flowers had already bloomed. The flowers were dead. Hopefully, as we go through fall and winter, the plant will grow back. It's already come back a bit since I have trimmed it. I don't know why I'm touching the leaves for some reason. I guess I just like touching leaves. You get a whole new perspective on your filming habits when there's no audio. But there's a lavender plant, and I'll give you an update in the spring, hopefully. Now, this is my Croton Petra. It is outside because it completely busted out of my plant cabinet last year. Got too tall, got too wide, so I took it outside because I still like it. Now, outside, it's actually growing leaves more quickly with the natural sun, even if it's not getting blasted with full sun. And now here I'm trying to show y'all, I think I was talking about the older leaves that are darker. They have kind of a pink or red variegation, and the younger leaves that are lighter tend to get yellow variegation. And I think what I was also saying was that the more light the plant gets, the more pink or red the variegation is. It's actually a little faded on that leaf. There's a little yellow and a little pink on the leaf that I was pulling there. There's also some scorch marks because I didn't harden off the plant correctly when I first took it out, but now it's doing okay. I actually went to the person who grew this plant, the person who grew the dish garden that this plant came in for my birthday, and they said, yeah, I grow my crotons outside all year round and they do just fine. So that appears to be true so far, and I hope it continues to be true because this plant seems to like the natural sun, and I like it in the natural sun. Why am I zooming in there? I don't know. Here's a close-up of some leaves. Hope you like it. Now what we have here is a mess of succulents, all in the same planter. We're going to start with the Aeonium Swartkop Black Rose, and that cultivar is called Black Rose because it should be black. It's not black because I couldn't give it enough sun at this time. That rosette that I'm touching, it was about that size when I first got the plant. I was able to hang it up when it was little to give it lots and lots of sun. That's how come it got that big. It doesn't get enough sun anymore because I can't hang it up anymore because it's too big. Those leaves that have the black on the edges were getting enough sun, and now they're not. Now I guess I moved on to my Aeonium Kiwi. This plant has pointier leaves, and instead of black edges, it has pink ones. That's what attracted me to the plant. I like green and pink together. And there's also a bit of yellow. If the plant doesn't get that pink sun stressing, you're just left with yellow on the edges, which is still fine. I still like that quite a bit. But again, probably not a plant I can keep long-term as huge as it's gotten, because the bigger it gets, the lower I have to put it so it doesn't go flying off the balcony or off of wherever I hung it up. Now this is a variegated elephant bush. This plant has been in quite a few situations. It was hanging up for a while, getting a ton of sun, and then I ended up putting it into this planter for a spiller effect. Spiller, I guess it's called. I think I'm trying to show you the variegation on the itty bitty leaves. They're quite small or round, they're cute. The variegation I think is supposed to be more pink, but it's just yellow, and that's okay. And probably not a plant I'll keep, again, because I can't give it enough sun now that it's gotten larger, and not in this pot, but I've liked it for what it is. Moving on to more herbs, this is my sage. I had recently cut it back when I filmed, and it's grown back pretty aggressively, actually. In the spring, it had popped out some adorable purple flowers that attracted hummingbirds. And I hope it flowers again in the coming spring because I loved watching the hummingbirds visit the balcony and drink from the flowers, and sometimes they drink from other flowers. I think at this point I was like petting the leaves and talking about how soft they are, which is true, they're very soft. And yeah, that's my sage. Smells good. Yummy flowers. Now, one last herb for you all on my balcony. This is my rosemary, and you'd think that it's actually in too big of a pot, but it is not. The root system is quite extensive. It got pretty beefy whenever it was in the grow bag. I had repotted it a few weeks before filming this, and it smells good. I think people generally grow rosemary for its culinary use, and that is true for me, but I also really love the flowers. The bud that I just showed you was really small, and then the flowers also come out really small. I love the color. I love how delicate they are, soft. Even the flowers smell good, just like the plant itself. And yeah, I just admire how it looks, aside from its culinary use. It's a good plant. Here's my trailing lavender lantana. Purple flowers, purple leaves, quite a spreader. really getting into everybody's space here. Now here is a bit of a close-up of the plant. I actually turned it around so I could give you all a really good look. Normally this trails over the side of the balcony that faces away from my house. The flowers have a white center and pink petals, or purple petals, sorry. And you'll notice that it's not one flower, but actually a small cluster of a bunch of tiny flowers. And they all smell really soft and delicate and lovely. One of my favorite things about this plant is the flowers and how they smell. Another thing I really like about trailing lavender lantana is this sort of sun stressing on the leaves. You'll notice that some of the leaves are green, some of them are purple, and some of them are both. These leaves specifically, because they were trailing over the side of the balcony, are very deep purple, so that tells me the plant is getting enough sun. Here are some more leaves with sort of a half and half look. The tips of the leaves are purple and the bases are green. Still a good amount of sun. Here's my other lantana plant. This is a gold lantana, called so not because the leaves turn gold with sun stress, although that would be handy. Oh, there I am pushing it away so that it doesn't crowd out the lavender. Because the flowers are actually a gold color when it flowers. Hasn't flowered since it started getting colder, but that's okay. Notably, the scent of this lantana is not as soft or delicate as the lavender lantana. It's kind of more of a spicier smell. Even the leaves have that spicier smell. Still enjoy it. You'll notice here that I am pointing out the purple sun stressing on this leaf, which is telling me that, whoops, that is actually a lavender lantana plant. Does not belong with the gold lantana plant. They were potted together for a while. All the lantanas used to be in one single pot before I learned that actually the gold lantana will hog all the nutrients from the lavender lantana and prevent it from flowering. So in my effort to divide the species or cultivars, I was not successful and I forgot one lavender lantana, unfortunately. I will rectify it eventually, but not now because it is too cold and too wet. This is when I realized my mic had been off and turned it back on. These are my African irises, or fortnight lilies. My partner and I recently repotted these back in August. Well, we didn't repot them, we changed the soil. We gave it a more nutritious soil, a more well-draining soil, moisture retaining. It is Fox Farms Ocean Forest. It is not something that's flowered yet in the entire time that I've had it here. Recently I cut it back because it was, it was getting quite droopy and the leaves were going all over the place. I was attracted by the flowers. I hope it flowers next year. Trying to give it lots of sun and lots of nutritious soil. In the meantime, I do like how it has these spiky jazz hands sort of leaves. That does make me happy. So even if it never flowers, I do like the way it looks. This is mint. I propagated this from a grocery store box of mint. It's been through many pots, it's been through many soils, it's been through many sun conditions, and my mic died. Anyway, that's my mint. I cut it back pretty aggressively and it grows back pretty aggressively. You can literally never kill mint. About the jar, I don't know why it's still there. I guess I tried to make sun-brewed tea in the summer and then I left it there. And now the mint is rooting, so I just want to see what happens. Kind of gross. Here is my Nematanthus Shady Ladies Marlene, also known as goldfish plant because the flowers are little and orange and look like goldfish, which I think is adorable. Also known as lipstick plant for some reason. I think it's because on the backs of the leaves, in the middle of the green, there is this pop of red. I guess it looks like lipstick. I enjoy the plant's tiny, waxy leaves. I enjoy how they kind of clump on the vine like this. A lot of care guides say not to put this plant in direct sun. My experience has been, I've only kept this plant outside, and when I had it in indirect sunlight / light shade, it was stretching toward the sun. So I hung it up here and I put it in the sun. It has thrived ever since, and I hope it continues to. It's been there for maybe 18 months, and it has only ever done well. Now, these are the last two plants on the balcony, and they've been through quite a bit. Both of them, for one reason or another, have fallen off the edge of my balcony and shattered into a bajillion pieces, but fortunately, I was able to help them recover, and they are both very vigorous growers. We'll start here with the zonal geranium, another grocery store or hardware store impulse buy, and in my defense, it's got hot pink flowers, so of course I had to buy it. Flowers pretty readily. The leaves are really cute and round, and they've got this kind of ruffly shape. Kind of reminds me of a lily pad. You'll notice that these smaller leaves are kind of bunchy. When the leaves come out, they kind of start in a tight bud and then pop open and become flat and round. Also, some of the leaves get this little dark circle in the center in the right sun conditions, which I really enjoy. This zonal geranium grows in a grow bag, and it's doing pretty well in the grow bag. I hope all my plants can be in grow bags someday. Now moving on to my coleus. I actually drove this to my house from Southern California because I found it in a hardware store there and I loved it so much. This is the second iteration of the coleus. I was attracted to this plant because the leaves just get this beautiful deep red color. You may have noticed in my indoor plant tour that coleus in the terrarium did not have color like this. The natural sunlight really brings out that red. I love this plant, and I hope it survives another winter with me. Check it out. The variegation starts in the center and moves its way out. I like the green edges, and the leaves of this plant are also quite soft. The edges are quite ruffly, which I enjoy. Cool shape, cool colors, cool variegation, and when you prune it, it gets good basal growth almost right away. So this is a very good instant gratification plant, if that's your thing. Don't remember the specific coleus cultivar. I think it's an Indian coleus. I will have to find out. I always forget. There are over 300 cultivars, so go nuts. And that, my friends, was the balcony. You can see from the jack-o'-lantern, the carved pumpkin, that this video took quite some time, but the technical difficulties were kind of a bear. So I still hope you enjoyed it. I still hope you like, subscribe, hit the bell if you like hitting the bell. I'm not going to force you. And I will see you soon with more plant, pod, and balcony updates.